follow through on your pants.
Somebody heard that. You're lucky there's no live viewers. Right, here we go.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilization, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Greetings, salutations, and welcome to Retrek. I'm Captain Jim. With me, of course, Sir Admiral Elliot.
Hi there.
And Dr. Squee.
Dragon.
And we're here to talk about the finale of the 6-episode retaking Deep Space Nine occupation. They've never sort of given this an official title, have they? You'd think they'd give the arc.
Do you know what? I consider this like at the core of the Dominion arc so much that I consider it the Dominion arc war, the Dominion war arc. Like, I know it's not the entirety of the war, but it's the heart of it.
It's an arc within an arc.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Drop that truth bomb on you.
I think there's a bit of lag between us there. I was just waiting for Elliot to say something.
No, I got my signal dropped just as we went live.
Yeah.
It all went spinning circles.
It's because you were lagging. Because we were lagging, I knew that was the point where you would naturally jump in, but there was just dead silence, and it sounded like we were just all blown away by what you.
I know, that's it. I just dropped an absolute depth charge there.
I was just saying that was meta. I just want to say something before we start getting loads of comments and complaints about how I've titled this week's episode. It isn't a spelling mistake. I have spelt it as it is. Oops. Can we get it? On the sleeve, Favor. No, you.
Yeah. No, that's fine, but I want to put it out there.
I just wanted to point out that I haven't made a spelling mistake. I've copied it how it was originally released.
And for those of you listening on the podcast, I refuse to spell things the American way, even when that's what the episode is titled. So it will be correctly spelled for the podcast. And you know what? We'll probably lose viewers because they won't be able to find it, but I don't care.
And if through the listener and viewership, this is something that's troubled you this week, get out more. Fucking get a life, man. Come on, look, this is not healthy. You haven't left the house in 3 days. Come on, Kevin.
No, I did want to put it out there because I know at times my spelling isn't the greatest. I just wanted to put it out that I hadn't made a proper a boob there. I had done it deliberately.
Sorry, but someone have made a grievous error this week, though.
Oh, already? We've only been on 2 minutes.
Sorry, Elliot and Squee have swapped sides. My phone break.
How do I move it?
Oh, there we go.
Fix.
I
got it.
There we go. Facebook users happy now.
I thought my neck was pulling a little bit.
That's it.
Spelling mistake is acceptable.
It's not a spelling mistake. They're both correct. Elliot has used the American spelling, which is what the title is actually spelled as. I will be using the British spelling because I'm pedantic.
And just for anyone who was troubled by that, just to remind you, there's still a war in the Ukraine. So, just perspective, that's what I'm saying.
There is, yeah.
Yeah.
That's lowered the tone.
Sorry. And I should say I might be in a spicy sense of humour mood today, guys.
And I think while we're here, we should state that obviously...
You took my head, you knocked yourself in.
Did what? Sorry, you cut out a bit.
Squeezing his space. I think I'm getting signal lag a bit tonight.
We got you again.
Yeah, we've got you now.
Have you? No, I was just saying, Squee was saying how it's very spicy. He obviously took my advice before the show and made himself aspirate souffle.
There you go.
Which, by the way, famous the galaxy wide for giving the worst wind. Just awful.
And obviously, it has been a big news week since we were here last, and we can't ignore the big issues in the world, even though you come here for Star Trek. So obviously we here at Retrek have strong opinions on Philip Schofield, and we just want to say that we hope everyone is okay, and above all, we find it very, very funny. So there we go.
And
I just find
some prayers are with Holly,
from what they've been up to, because he's not committed any crimes. All he's done is in an affair.
Let's not actually talk about it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to get into this too much, like, and bring the tone down. But it's like it's the fact that he got the young man involved a job when he was underage, and then had a relationship when he was just within age. And it feels a little bit groomy. I'm not saying it is. It feels a little bit groomy. A little bit.
There we go. We're being cancelled again. Never mind. We could probably get him on next week. Actually, he's not got much work going on.
He's got none on. His agents dropped him, so we can't contact him.
I wonder if he wants.
Yeah, you fixed it. The world makes sense again. What, my grooming theory? I think that's a bit inappropriate Facebook use. No, I'm kidding.
They probably mean swapping the thing on the thing. Right. We'll cut all this bit. Don't worry.
Can I just very quickly?
So 6 minutes is my timestamp.
Last time, which I bring things down, but just very quickly, I just want to thank anyone who's watching for their lovely thoughts this week. As has popped her head up a few times on Retrek, my dear dog Dottie sadly left us on Friday, and people have been sending loads of loving messages checking in on me. It was a really bad day because there was also family member of mine who also passed away. It hasn't been mentioned online, so I won't say who, but it's just been a really tough time. So I appreciate everyone out there listening and all their kind words and stuff. And this one's for Dottie.
Right then, shall we
Sorry, man, let's bring it back up now.
Now that we've covered all the serious stuff. Apart from obviously Dominion War, which is very serious.
Yes.
And this is the culmination of sort of the first leg of the war, really, I suppose.
May I also suggest that such a two-parter, like, because it's two-part within the six-parter kind of.
Yeah.
But it's like within this two-parter, I feel like it called the Spirit of Action to life so much through us just rewatching it. The Expendable 4 released a trailer. That's how much action is in this episode, like two-part.
I can't believe they're doing Expendables 4, but you know.
I'm surprised they're not on. I'm surprised they're not up to Expendables 6 already. I'm actually surprised it's taken so long for Expendables.
It's no Fast and Furious. That's why there's not that many. Just before this, but this is relevant at least. I remember when they did a series of Dominion War novels to tie in with the ongoing Dominion War, and there were 2 TNG novels and 2 DS9 novels in this little 4-part release of novels. And the TNG one was an original story of what is the Enterprise E doing during all this battle. The DS9 one was 2 books, which between the 2 of them were a novelization of these 6 episodes. Now, thinking about all 6 DS9 episodes, if you wanted to really incentivize someone to buy that second book, where would you leave? Where would you leave off? Where would you put your cliffhanger out of these 6 episodes?
Oh, they didn't do it after Sons and Daughters, did they? Oh, for Christ's sake! Anywhere but that would be.
I'm up to guess how they wrote it. They wrote the first 3 episodes and then the second 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God!
And didn't take any notice of where he actually was.
The actual split in the books was the bombastic cliffhanger where Worf says, "Yes, I know him. He's my son." So right at the start of Sons and Daughters, and that's where they chose to put the cliffhanger in.
Wow.
Yeah.
And also, as we've established, I'm guessing anyone who's reading those books is already a Trekkie. So already the needle drop moment already happened when he said Alexander Rodchenko. They don't need that sentence.
Was this movie made before or after Insurrection? Sorry, were these books released before or after Insurrection?
Oh, good question. I would have to check. I really
because we have seen it on screen. We know where the Enterprise E was during the Dominion War. Picard was putting beads on his head.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's very
true. He was
true.
fed up of being bald.
That's true, and I don't blame him.
He had his experimental stage. It's no wonder they kept him out of it. He's got a bit hippie, guys. No, we don't want him. He might go all love and peace on us.
And we know
I
the
think
chefs on the
Picard's
Enterprise,
always been love and peace.
and we even know that the chefs on board the Enterprise were making a nice vinaigrette, something which pairs nicely with chrysanthemums.
With what, sorry?
Chrysanthemums.
Chrysanthemums. Ooh.
Chrysanthemums. I think I almost
Very
said the
posh.
word right.
Very posh.
I know I can't
Well, no,
say
that's
that
in
word
the-
right at the moment.
That's in the insurrection.
I'm well into
yes,
my
sorry.
second
Anyway.
lot of dental treatment. So
We're 10 minutes in. Let's go. Deep Space Nine. So we start off with a little battle. Not a big battle.
Now,
We're going to get a big
Don't
battle.
you think this is a nice classic little bait and switch we get at the beginning here? That
Go
we
on.
think one thing's happening.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That the Defiant's in trouble, and no shields, and oh shit, the Dominion's coming down on them. And then it's here we go, power on. Let's split the switch.
Yeah.
It's amazing how quick a starship in them situations can power on, how you can
It is.
turn something on and off. Because this is really relevant later on in this episode. This takes less than 22 seconds to turn the power back on.
Yeah.
No problem.
So
And
keep that in your back pocket.
Keep that in mind.
We'll come back to it. What I noticed about this, and I've noticed it a little bit over the last couple of episodes, but I thought I'd save it until this last one. Bashia's turned into a right sarky bastard, hasn't he, since this war started? Like, he's just sort of hovering behind everyone and saying, what are we going to do, Captain? If you want to win this war, you need to be doing this. Well, all right, calm down.
It's because he's been outed as being like a super genius, isn't it? So
No, I
he's
don't
no
think
longer
so.
hiding it, and he's like not found his balance yet with it. He's sort of like, I
can
can't
see
be.
that. The way I took it, I thought it was just sort of setting up for a kind of his mini arc, basically. Actually, it fits in your theory perfectly, because in statistical probabilities, where he's got to basically be tempted to sell out the Federation, I think that's the kind of cynicism which is going into him at this stage. You know, so it does, like, they do build up very nicely, though. Like you say, it's kind of there, but it's like, to begin with, it's nice and subtle. Now you're going, whoa.
Yeah, he's just, I suppose it's maybe a bit of the stress as well that...
And there's
And I
also,
suppose-
well, I don't want to sort of like preempt it because I really want to talk about this moment, but it's a bit where they're doing the poem and he stands forward really dramatically.
Oh, he does,
like,
yeah.
wow, like, you know, he's, and you could write that into the fact that because he's being himself, owning himself, he's so confident that he's moving in this really dramatic way.
He just really likes Charge of the Light Brigade.
Yeah, it's like, in real life, can you imagine? A, you can't imagine anyone bursting into poetry like that. B, if they were going to, the one person just reciting as they're sat there, the other one's like, and so I say to you, you know,
it's very good. I will start a poem later in this episode and we'll see if you two can finish the poem. It depends what it is. It might be a really easy one.
I might, okay, if it's really easy, I might get it.
What's that,
We'll
Hedgie?
see.
There was a young lady from Alpha Centauri. No, Hedgie.
No, there was a young lady from Venus.
Yeah, they never got to finish it.
This is why he
Again.
only talks on the live ones. It's like live and uncensored then.
That's it. It's disgusting. Then they decide they need a big victory, so we're going to retake Deep Space Nine. So it's like, we spoke to the network. They said we could get away with a 6-episode arc, but no longer than that. So we need to hit the reset button and get us all back on the station now. So come on.
Yeah.
Also, we've got the momentum nice. Like, we've got it back after Sons and Daughters. Mostly the fucking Sons part.
Yeah.
It's interesting as well because it goes back to what I was saying last week about how they do the costs of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Because last episodes, a couple of episodes haven't been that cost that much of like special effects. They've been all actors on sets. And now we've got 2 very massively effect-laden episodes.
Yeah.
And then, then the next 2 episodes are actually, again, set episodes, so they cost a lot less, so they're spending loads on these.
Yeah,
They
well,
call them
that's
proper
it.
episodes, don't they?
Yeah, they
And
do.
it's like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and it's just that thing how they got a budget of was it $1 million an episode? So they had
it was 1 or 2, I think. I can't remember
So
exactly.
you have 24 million for the year, and if you want to do a massive episode for 4 million, you've got to save that in other episodes.
That's it, exactly.
You're not getting an extra 3 million to do that.
Yeah, I know, but I just it's the quality which I love that they've kind of managed to maintain. It doesn't really feel like it's once before a cousin.
That's what's clever.
It's some really nice
Sons
kind of
and
work.
Daughters.
Yeah,
apart from Sons and Daughters.
In this episode, it's the step forward they make as well that they you can see they've invested some money, even though some of the shots don't hold up perfectly. But it's like it's mainly when one ship's going in front of another. I think they were struggling to do on CGI really well. But you compare it to the early series Deep Space Nine, and my God, it's night and day.
Yeah,
there's still
definitely.
A lot of physical models used as well, though.
Yeah, and a lot of it.
And you can tell because, like I was about to come to this later in the episode, but with the physical models, they do look so much better on the screen. It's why things like Star Wars still holds up as a great movie because it wasn't CGI. But the Phantom Menace doesn't hold up anymore because it was early CGI.
I mean, arguably, the Phantom Menace don't hold up because of the script and the acting. I mean, the CGI doesn't help.
Well, I was about to go about.
Greg Proops was amazing
about how it looks.
Greg Proops was fine. Yeah.
Leave Greg Proops alone. He's my buddy now. He's been on my show.
I have just said that he was fine in a Star Wars prequel, which is high praise indeed.
And he was also on the TV show for an episode.
Was he?
Yeah, Clone Wars.
Are you like his agent or something?
He was kind enough to go on my show.
Are we talking
I like him.
Jar Jar here?
Greg Proops.
No, Greg Proops.
Greg Proops is awesome, to
Whose
be
lines
fair.
it anyway?
Whose lines it anyway? The American
I know
guy.
you mean.
He's
Yeah,
really, really good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Garak thinks they've put a transmitter in his head. I just really enjoy this. And he makes a good point. It's like, well, that's what I'd do.
I'm not being funny, but when we look at what they'd actually done to Odo, what we find out, how he effectively...
Yeah, you're right.
Actually, Garrick has a very good point. Starfleet intelligence could do this.
And also, I think Garrick, like, he probably does to a degree mean it, but I love the fact that Garrick's probably just fucking around with them, basically.
He's probably just bored.
Yeah, he's bored between battles.
You've also got that Garrick did use the torch because we've already seen that Garrick was a torch.
And Garak did have a chip put in his head to help with his torturing.
So if you've got someone who used to do torture, I used to chips being put in the head, and they say, I think they would put a chip in my head because that's what I would do. He's doing it to wind them up what he's saying. But he's giving them a truth that you can do this if you want.
Well, yeah. Oh, he definitely knows he can do it. But I think it's definitely he's fucking around with them. But there's a part of his brain which is like, well, it's kind of plausible. But it's like, if he was concerned about it, he would never say it to them if he was genuinely concerned.
No, that's true. Yeah, and Garak
truth
would have a way of knowing whether he's got a chip in his head or not, I would guess.
Yeah, chip in the head scanner. Classic.
Yeah, chip in the head scanner,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Chip in his head, he'd probably know.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. They'd speak to each other. I bet a Cardassian chip in your head kills any other chips that are put in your head.
Actually, knowing Garrick, probably his chip detector would also turn any chips in his head to his voice and his command. So it gives him
probably, yeah. That's it. He'd control Starfleet intelligence if they had put a chip in his head.
He'd find a way to feed it some more of those drugs which he used to be on before the wire.
Yeah, exactly. And then, Odo then. This is where, as Elliot has alluded to, this is where Odo basically dooms his entire species and guarantees the Federation victory in this war, really. And he does it by knobbing the female changeling. Linking with the female changeling. He knobs the next episode.
No, it was done in Broken Link, wasn't it? When he first...
yeah, you're right. Sorry. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I forgot when he actually got it.
He's just giving her a top-up in this episode.
Yeah, that's it. This is like the COVID booster.
Yeah.
No, wasn't... Yeah, but that was linking. That wasn't... Because they do human lovemaking.
They do human stuff,
yeah,
but
we'll
they do
link.
They do human stuff. I love that.
They do link as well.
You're getting kinky. Let's do some human stuff tonight.
But he's already been into the Great Link.
He has, you're right. They're all already doomed. And so he's lost track of time, and all he wants to do is link now. And there's obviously, even before they do that, obviously this is all a big sort of sexual metaphor for being seduced and blinded with desire and everything, and he can't resist her and all this. But for Odo, there's more layers to it than that. It's this whole thing about the connection and feeling like he belongs with his people and all that business.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of this where it's played as if she's like going back to previous episodes as well, as if she's distracting him from what's going on.
Well, she is, definitely. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I don't think I know some of it she's keeping him from, but I think a lot of it is she's genuine that getting him back to the link is more important than anything else.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely true.
On.
Yeah, no one doesn't think that. But it's like, I just think it's kind of case of that it's like a two-part plan. It's like you separate him away from his people.
Yeah.
You surround him by the link, show him everything that's amazing about it. And then when you do release a bit of information, as she does in the second episode that we're talking about tonight, I think she truly believed that he would just be, oh yeah, fine, yeah, just do that.
I think she underestimates.
I think she played it hand too soon.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think 3 days and just a quick hair bit of rumpy pumpy isn't quite enough to make somebody change morally.
It depends on rumpy pumpy, obviously, but
especially not someone. I mean. We'll get there, but you would imagine it would be very good given what they are capable of doing,
Oh,
yeah. I mean, straight from the get-go with this, though, just I've always felt the way they deal with the Odo's, like, go towards the darkness, towards the light, if you like, is just it's not. It's a bit weird, like, it's like the moments when there's not like a moment when he really has an epiphany. Like he's insulting people 1 second. It's only when they mention Kira every time that he kind of is one round. I like to think it's more about him just wanting some nookie. It's like I always felt a bit uncomfortable.
I don't think
how much they push that agenda.
Are you going to say how you said it in our little chat?
I believe it was Kira Reese's Pieces he wanted.
I don't think it's that so much as I think for him, because he's not been in the link all his life, basically, I think it's addictive, and I think it's almost like an endorphin rush when he does do it. So it's almost like he's sort of loved up and doped up at the same time. So I think his faculties are very, very reduced at this point.
I would say the way they've... sorry, mate.
No, carry on.
No, just the way they frame it, I would say they always... But it's like, the female changeling says, it's like, oh, did you wish you had sex with Kira? Then when he's talking about it, it's like, oh, I expect you can probably guess why what happened or why I changed my mind. You've got... there was another reference as well. Like, it always seems to be framed around him just doing it for Kira, and it just I think it makes the character more one-dimensional than it is in that moment.
Yeah, but then I think when he's weighing it up, like I do think he has loyalties to the Federation and to Voyager and to the Alpha Quadrant.
But I think in the next episode, that's when he has his epiphany.
Yeah, like I think
isn't about Kira.
The way it's framed is all through Kira throughout.
I think how seductive the link is to him, he could look past everything else, but he to get that, he could cast everything else aside, but he can't do that to Kira because of how he feels about it. That's my take on it.
I get what they're going for. I just think just the way it's framed is just, again, it's. Yeah, I would prefer a bit more like everything.
It's one of them things that, because of how, like, if you think about it, when you watched this originally, this was spread over a month and a half of how you'd watch it. But now you watch it back, and you watch it in a day. You watch it in a few hours, so you see the time scale of his slide a bit differently now from how we originally saw it. Because now it looks very, very slow.
True. There's some really good stuff sort of throughout the episode. Like we've got Kira going to see Weyoun, and they talk about Rom, and I love how that scene finishes. That Weyoun, he's got Zial's drawing, and he says, "Would this look better if it was blue?" And it just shows how completely disconnected he is from everything. It's so cold.
Well, it's
it's not like it is cold, but I don't think it's disconnected. I think it's just he was showing Kira that he's indifferent to the fate of Rom. He couldn't care less. What Bubba's saying is the Dominion.
I feel what it is that, you know, because I was very struck by the scene, because I love the fact that it sort of like sounds a bit like a previous scene where he's talking about like something that the Vorta aren't bred to do, or like he talks about the eyesights and stuff later.
Now,
it's like,
I thought
in this scene
really strange.
What? But in this scene, it's like he oh, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Sorry, after you, Elliot. I'm sorry, I forgot what I was saying.
Like this whole thing with his eyesight, because we see it in the next episode as well. And this way, where I don't understand the aesthetics and all that. I've got really bad eyesight. I was thinking, these are the diplomats for the Dominion, and have to go into all sorts of diplomatic situations. Being able to see things and spot little nuances because of how people are moving, I thought that would be really important.
I thought that was insane. I
just thought this is a really, really strange thing for the Dominion, because these have been specifically bred by the founders of the Vorta. So to breed them that they can't see very well seems a really strange thing for your chief diplomats that they're not going to know.
Yeah, it's true.
The only logic, because I thought the same thing. The only logic which I thought behind it is that if they can't see that well, especially to fly the ships, they're relying on the Jem'Hadar, who are bred solely for loyalty beyond everything. And even though the Vorta are loyal, they're bred for diplomacy, so maybe they've got more of a predilection to outthink their programming, if you like.
I think it's just it's a deliberate thing by the founders,
keeping everyone in line.
Yeah, we're gonna build in, for want of a better word, a defect. That's probably how the founders would see it. What episode was it when she pretended to be Kira, trapped in the crystal? Heart of Stone, yes.
Yeah, that's my logic on that one. But with the painting thing, because I thought it was almost like it was presented as if he's trying to humanize himself. He's talked a few times about, like, you know, he works in diplomacy and stuff, and he kind of almost seems a bit curious about humanity. And when he goes like, "Oh no, Rom's going to be executed," "Oh, Major," and he doesn't even break a breath between the two sentences. "Major, would this look better in green or blue?" Whatever he says. And I think it turns from him trying to looking like he's trying to humanize himself to being like psychopathic. It is such
it plays as psychopathic to us, but I don't think Weyoun understands that is not how a conversation should go. Like, I think it seems perfectly normal to him that you would just, we've talked about that, let's talk about this. And he doesn't see that that's not appropriate. What you've also got to bear in mind is that in the Gamma Quadrant with the Dominion, they made it a diplomatic call to go to all these planets, but all these planets are subdued at this point. And he turns up and he goes, "Do this," and they go, "Yes, sir." There's no actual diplomacy that we think of where you negotiate and all that. He's diplomat. He turns up and he goes, he tends to be really nice, and he goes, we want 1 million barrels of oil this year. And he's got a whole fleet of Jem'Hadar behind him, and whoever he's negotiating with goes, "Yeah, of course, sir, that's no problem. We'll get that to you straight away. Do you want it at half the price of normal?" Yeah, true.
But I was just thinking, it's almost like the Vorta, though, or a metaphor for ChatBT, because it's like it can mimic humanity really well, but then it'll say something really deeply inappropriate that doesn't belong.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it is sociopathic. It's that whole thing of like, talking about like killing a squirrel and taking his guts out being on the same level as talking about the weather. It's just that unawareness and they are sociopaths. The way you see the not squirrels, but the Vorta, the way you see them.
Oh no, squirrels are
killing people.
Squirrels are. I was in a Tufty.
I'm not getting into
this. I know all about squirrels.
Oh, the Tufty.
Elliot James. I know
giving
how.
Away our age.
No, guys, I know how evil they are. Why do you think I don't want to piss them off? Squirrels are great.
That's good point. Good point. Yeah.
They said it. Kill them.
Yeah. Okay, so then we get Zial and Ducat, and she asks him for mercy. That doesn't go well. I mean, all the interactions between these two are just great in these episodes. But I think we'll talk more about them when we get to the more juicy stuff. And then Quark and Lita, they're coming up with this plan to rescue Rom. And even though that's what Quark wants to do, his Ferengi side kicks in and negotiates she's going to work for free for a while.
Well, that's it. He's talking to Rom and all that. She goes, I'll work for free if the demo table's for free if you can pull this up and free it. For how long? And Rom's going, what? Stop this. No, this is serious. Negotiating.
But why does she suddenly turn into a small dog through parts of the conversation? What?
She does that.
It's a weird cry, isn't it?
It's so like it feels like some, let's face it, male showrunner or producer or something has thought that would sound really cute and made her do it. That's how it feels. It doesn't feel like, I don't feel like Chase wants to be doing that.
I think it's meant to be funny, but I agree with Squee here. I think she's probably right. A male showrunner has made her do this. Because we have met Chase, and she does not do that at all.
She doesn't.
Right. But it's like it just felt so patronizing. I really hate it. Like every time I heard it, it just made my skin crawl.
Yeah, it just doesn't sound right, does it?
Feels uncomfortable. It feels like
it's like, weird. It's like she's doing a comedy bit in this moment, and it's like, nah. Anyway, Ducat, then I'm gonna get Damar to go and talk to Zial. Which I suppose is showing that he's getting more and more desperate. Like, I've got this lackey, I'm going to go get him to sort out my daughter for me. And it's just, it wasn't going to work, Ducat. I mean, as it turns out, Kira happens to be there when he does, and it goes very wrong for Damar. But, I
mean, as much as I kind of like understand it plot-wise, it's like, it does feel like, right, we're showing you this moment so you know when later events happen, they don't like each other, just in case.
Well, it's very interesting, isn't it, when you look at this with the early interactions of Damar and Kira. You see how much she dislikes him, but her role towards the end.
Where they end up.
Zial. I think, you showed him and Zial not getting on earlier to then pay it off later when
you sure Damar's.
I meant here with Kira because these are I know we have seen Damar a little bit earlier on in it, but these are the first sort of ones where we see a lot of him, where he's getting a lot into it, and we're seeing a lot of interaction between him and Kira. And this is worth remembering for quite a lot later down the line.
It is, definitely. And
how these two are.
I think what's happening with Damar and Zial is he's building up more and more resentment because it's like, I've got a job to do. A dad's telling me to go and talk to her when I should be doing my job. Then it's like, I just got absolutely chinned while trying to do this job with her, and that's her fault. She's compromising my superior, and it's all these layers and layers of resentment are building up, which will obviously pay off next episode.
He's also, like, you've got the cat is also he's not noticing that Zial is a collaborator with Kira, but Damar is seeing it very clearly what is happening.
Yeah, you're right.
The cat is seeing this whole thing through rose-tinted spectacles.
Yeah, he is.
Not noticing.
Also, he doesn't seem to realize that if he says in front of other Kardashian soldiers. It's like, oh, that Major Kira, she's a peach. She's so keen to me. Like that's going to engender anything but rage from them. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Realize they just like they
I think
in
he's-
the old
To be fair though, Damar does say this to Quark, and he goes, "I don't understand what the cat sees in her." And Quark just turns around and he goes, "What, you don't? Are you blind? What's wrong with you?"
Yeah. I mean, Descartes, I think it's because he's used to his position being unassailable, and he thought as soon as he was back in, he would be the leader of everything. And he's finding out that he's not for lots of reasons. We get a lot more sort of towards the end of the episode. So we get a lot of big things thrown in really quickly. So Nog gets a promotion. Nog is now
that's cool.
fully in Starfleet, and he's rocking the grey uniform. So good for him.
Best phase of Nog ever. Yep.
I do like Nog in Ensign's uniform.
I do.
He's
and
brilliant.
then
And it's like
Cisco,
the whole series for him, I think, is really great.
Yeah.
It's like when he's on the Divine, I think he's at his best in that uniform.
yeah, absolutely. Cisco just drops out of nowhere. I'm going to go and live on Bajor. And that's obviously going to be a really big thing for his character.
I love it when he goes into like when the Admiral basically goes like, yeah, sure, sounds nice doesn't even cover it. And it's like, it is wonderful Avery Brooks porn acting right there. I love it when he goes into something so characterful, and it just, no one else could get away with speaking like that and feel anything but
it's like the Garden of Eden.
Yeah, his voice takes on like almost a musical quality sometimes when he's being sort of wistful, and Willow
was a fan.
Well, so she should be. Avery Brooks, brilliant.
Yeah, I told them what you thought about Avery Brooks. He was great.
See, we've got the whole cast online now tonight.
We have. And then the episode finishes, and we get the massive fleet shot again, which is great. And Cisco gives his "May Fortune Favor the Bold," which gives us our episode title.
It's really nice because this is at the end of this episode and the beginning of the next one. You see the wonderful shot of all the different starships. Like they've used quite a few galaxies, but generally there are so many different types of ship. It's just a wonderful sight to see. And then you see the other side, which is the Kardashians and the Jem'Hadar, and it's like cut and paste.
Yeah,
the same two ships. Just
I mean, the Federation side is cut and paste, but there's more
it's
variety.
More imaginative cut and paste.
But it also this period gives rise to what's known as the Franken Fleet. It's called in modelling circles.
Oh, yes.
Because there's loads of kit bashes done for the models where they'll take the rear of Voyager and put a Maquis fighter on it, which is
that's the worst one where it's Maquis fighter with a Voyager saucer. That
one of them they were just like
shit.
But one of them they were just like, let's turn it upside down.
But there's loads of that done where they'll put different nacelles from one model to another. They literally went out and bought loads of AMT kits.
Yeah, which they did on the original series. Whenever the model broke, they just brought it from a kit shop because they licensed the exact same model to the kit shop. But wasn't there one earlier? I remember correctly where they just literally turned it upside down to create. That is the most blatant, and I love it.
that was where the concept for the Reliant came from originally. I thought it was the
Reliant. I didn't want to say
it's not literally. They didn't just turn the Enterprise upside down, but the concept was, what if the Enterprise was upside down?
Well, one of the original drawings for the Enterprise was it being upside down. That was how it had to be.
Well, I mean, the thing is that
way up and went, oh, that looks better.
It's the thing that they always do though. Of the Federation always has 1,000,001 different types of ship. Every other alien race, two at best, maybe one. Like Jem'Hadar, you just get one.
No, the Klingons have loads. It's just a burning drain. No,
I was going to say it's about 3.
But there's about a dozen different sizes. But
that's true.
Sorry, cut, paste, shrink. Cut, paste, shrink.
Yeah. So then we get the charge of the Light Brigade, and like you say, it's very handy that they both happen to know the words to charge of the Light Brigade.
No, you see, I would believe they both knew it because,
to be fair,
O'Brien, he would be a military historyist. That
True.
totally makes sense, and I think Bashir's memorized the library.
Yeah, but
fair point.
No, to be fair, Dax hits the nail on the head with these two. You have played this in the holiday.
Yeah.
And guys, may I? It's bullshit line corner because
Go on.
Nog, would you stop reciting that? It's like, oh, calm down, Ensign. It's only a poem. It's not the poem that bothers me. You literally just said it was. You literally just said, could you stop doing that poem?
Yes.
It's bothering me. Like, okay, not literally, but yeah, very close.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Nog, make your mind up, Nog.
Yeah.
You're an ensign now. We can't have this sort of rubbish coming out of your mouth.
At least say, that's not really what's bothering me, because then you're realizing there was something subconsciously going on.
Yeah.
It's just the English language for a reason. That's all I'm saying.
We do get Cisco and Decat sort of against each other tactically in this, that Cisco's like, we need to punch a hole through, and Decat's like, he's trying to punch a hole through.
Oh, we're on second episode now.
Yeah, we're into the second episode. And
the whole plotting of the way this kind of like their decision to retake Deep Space Nine, then like, because if you just have it that they're about to take down the mines and word gets to the Federation, you get that thing of like suddenly it's like space magic. Basically, it's like suddenly a million Federation ships are just there ready for the fight, and then the Klingons get another million ready just as backup later. But if they're already planning an attack, it gives them some kind of chance of success.
Yeah,
but they're against the odds because they have to launch it prematurely.
And they do
so well plotted. So
they do pay. Yeah, they do acknowledge that they're like, right, it'll leave this undefended if we do it. It'll leave that undefended. But it's like, no, but we have to do that.
I think it's pretty logic proof.
Like I like Cisco's point in the briefing about it all, and the Admiral goes, "This will leave Earth undefended."
Yeah,
and it's sort of like, hold on, all these fleets are out at Cardassian space, which is several weeks from Earth at maximum warp, allegedly. So it's not pulling anything from Earth at the moment for this.
No, they won't be able to get there in time, even if he did. So,
and Cisco makes a great point. He goes, "Earth isn't the key to the Alpha Quadrant."
No, exactly.
That DS9 is what we need to control.
It's actually really nice.
Control the wormhole.
Yeah, the really Federation. Nice. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say it's nice that this series goes so Bajor centric. It actually puts Bajor like in this plot line before the Earth and the Federation. Sometimes it's really nice. That's like they made us care care about the Bajorans so much they can do that. It doesn't have to be about us, and that is so just very quickly. It just made me think how Star Trek it is. The whole idea of like putting yourself outside your own frame of reference to care about other people. But I kind of just love that about this.
Like, I think it's wrong that is like how they're going about Earth as well, because as humans, we're only one of 4 founding members of the Federation. The Federation is hundreds of worlds now. So why does Earth have a special? Technically,
the Federation president, their office is on Earth.
Although England has seceded from the Federation in the Fred Six.
Yeah, that's not because we want to make our own trade deals.
I'm sick of the Federation making laws for us.
To be fair,
we want that sovereign right.
That'd kind of work, because we'd be like, well, we'll make trade deals with the Ferengi, but the Ferengi will be like, do you have any money? Shit, no, we've been in Federation for 200 years.
We don't have money anymore.
And of course, the government, and quite frankly, could be any government of the UK, would be like, well, we've got some gold, if you want that, and just giving away the silverware.
Absolutely. I'm sure
and
they
again,
would.
That's not against one particular government. Any of them would do that quite happily and have.
That's true. So we get another bit of dick measuring between Decat and Weyoun, and I really like this bit where they're talking about Cisco opening up the hole, and Decat's like,
sorry, do you want to reword that?
We're talking about Cisco trying to pry open the lips
I
of
don't
the
think you should at all. Because I think Dick Maturin might be important because Pinkodo could win on this.
And it's worth saying also that Ducat made it clear he wanted to close his hole for him.
He did. And this episode is all about making sure the hole can open again, the wormhole in this case. But it's just great how they try and like neg each other. Like Ducat says, well, he's trying to do this. And then Wei-Yoon goes, yes. And then Ducat's like, well, why don't you explain it to the founder? Ducat's sort of going, I don't think you know what
I can quite be as eloquent as you. It's really nice. And it's just dripping with sarcasm. Yeah, I agree. A lovely moment.
You know what these two would be like? These two would be like, oh, Ducat, I've started listening to a bit of Guns N' Roses. Really, Wei-Yoon, can you name 8 of their songs? That's what these two would be like.
He's going around in a hoodie.
No, it'd be really, can you name any of their songs that aren't on Appetite for Destruction?
So basically you're saying Wei-Yoon would be a teenager in a hoodie with Guns N' Roses on it.
Yeah, that's it.
They'd be a teenager in a hoodie with Appetite for Destruction.
On Nirvana's the really big one for them wearing the hoodie and not knowing who Kurt Cobain is.
It's like when you see teenagers walking around with Nirvana, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that what I said?
That is what you said.
I keep cutting out a little bit on stuff.
But the weird thing is...
No, sorry, my head's all over the place at the moment. I was like, did I say that? I'm
you maybe
not
did.
sure.
I keep cutting out.
The weird thing with the Nirvana thing is people were doing that when I was at school. And they're still doing it now. But anyway, so everyone gets arrested. All the resistance get arrested. And Cisco knows that Ducat's setting up a trap, but he goes for it anyway. And then you get this bit where you see how delusional Ducat is, that he's talking about, I can't believe they haven't got a statue of me. And he 100% believes that. And he can't understand why they've not got a statue. He's that oblivious to what he's done.
I think it goes, and I think they've really studied some ex-Nazis. And like there's some of the speeches you've heard that they've given where they do feel like they should have been celebrated as liberators somehow. For all their evil, they still don't get it. And it's like, seems like ripped from those pages. And it's like, it's really quite... If you know your history a little bit, it's really shocking. I think people who don't know the parallels, I think they could just be entertaining, but it's like it's really quite shocking stuff.
You do have it, don't you? You have a scene, don't you, where the cat starts toasting the victory and how they've taken the Alpha Quadrant.
Yeah.
And Wei-Yoon turns around to him and he goes, "We haven't yet. There's still 5 hours till this happens. A lot can happen in 5 hours, which is foreboding."
Well, it's also the fact that he goes, he said, it's like, oh, yeah, but such a prize as the Federation would require so many troops, so many ships, a huge occupation army. He is talking so wholly about an occupation of like...
Because this is the only thing Ducat was bothered about. He wasn't thinking long term when he joined the Dominion. No. All he was thinking about is, I want Terok Nor back, and I want Voyager back. Yeah, and he thinks he's done after this, and obviously he doesn't end up staying with the Dominion much longer after this. But if he had done, I don't think he'd have been able to hack it, because he'd have been like, well, I've done what I want to do. Why involve me? I'm not sending any kind of...
No, what would happen next is, if he hadn't got broken, he would have just tried to take Cardassia back out, and he would have got demolished. Like, that's what would have happened.
Well, yeah, but the reality is, even if they had won here, and the Dominion had taken the Alpha Quadrant, and Wei-Yoon says at this point that you have to take Earth to keep the Federation down. That's the center of the Federation. This is like, you need Deep Space Nine and Voyager for access to the Gamma Quadrant, but for the Federation to control it, you have to take Earth. And at that point, when taking all the other planets and the rest of the Federation, Cardassia just becomes a little minor colony again.
Exactly. And all they're going to do is get completely subjugated. They're not going to be a player in the Dominion whatsoever.
It's when he's counting his chickens before his hatch and calling a victory, and he's talking about like the hundreds of Gerard ships which are about to come through and win the day.
2,800.
Well, it's the fact. Well, yeah, exactly. But it's like when he's saying that, he doesn't have. Like, he knows they're not his ships, but he isn't seeing how insignificant his planet is. He isn't seeing how much he'll get demolished when he tries to leave.
Like,
he still thinks he's a huge player, and it's just so. And also you get this with kind of world leaders when people go, it's like, oh, but they're so stupid. But it's where they've got their intelligence. Like, he is so evil. He is a strategist of sorts, but it's like he doesn't see past his own ego. That's his Achilles heel. It doesn't make him overall dumb, though, which I think was what makes him such a well-written character.
You can see in this battle scene that he isn't dumb at all. That he's a great strategist because he's planning the strategy. He knows what Cisco's trying to do. He's going to do this to counter it, and he's moving all the pieces properly. But he hasn't understood what the Dominion is in the first place when he's made his approach.
It's a lack.
That even him signing his pact with the Dominion and letting them come into the Alpha Quadrant to help them. Yeah, Dominions ought to play nice with him. But you look at the Gamma Quadrant. The Gamma Quadrant, the Dominion rules everything. They are no sort of allies to the Dominion. Everyone is just a subject.
But it's a lack of emotional intelligence. So basically, as opposed to emotionally judging how people feel towards you, he uses his ego to determine he knows he's great and he's the best thing ever and everything he thinks is correct. So everyone else will. And it's, no emotional side to that.
He has the conversation, doesn't he, with Damar? After this war, we'll deal with the founders and everything. Will you bollocks? They will just you with
I look forward to letting you teach him that lesson.
He's just he's such a wonderful character. He's the cat. I mean, not wonderful in that sense whatsoever, but he's such a great character.
Yeah,
we all know what you mean. You love him. You've got posters of him. You've got his playing tennis one where he's bent over and his skirts riding up. I've seen them all. I didn't want to say, but now you play it out there that you think he's wonderful.
When he's scratching his ass and the skirts up, you can see the dick that he's measuring. Just hangs down.
Yeah, look, that was a paparazzi shot. That is not fair. That is being shared online. Protect the man's dignity and his privacy.
Jim, you're just upset because you were standing next to him and we can see your willy between your legs.
Well, let's not go down that hole. That hole again. Okay. Speaking of, should we just talk about dirty changeling sex though? So, the founders right. So that's how you do it, human-wise.
Now, don't you think this is really strange? And I think it's showing that the changelings that they change back into the human form, fully clothed straight after. But if you see, I know Star Trek will never show you a proper sex scene or anything, and we don't expect that. But we have had scenes where it's implied they've had sex and people are in bed and all that. Mm-hmm. But there's always covers and it's implied they're naked underneath. But they're sat up fully clothed.
Oh, it
not
really
even
annoys
facing
me.
Each other.
It really annoys me that her outfit is always like it looks skin colored as if it's meant to blend in, but it's clearly an outfit. It's weird. Yeah, why didn't they just blend her whole body neutral like a doll?
Yeah, don't know. It's a weird one.
Like either choose to give her an outfit.
I just thought it was really strange after a sex scene that they depicted them fully clothed, sat back to back,
all the same,
looking at each other.
So. Look, you're trying to make this conversation too highbrow. I'm going to bring it right down to what we're all wondering.
You're going to bring it to gutter, aren't you?
Yes. Do you reckon when they were doing it as solids, Odo decided, I'm going to make it that big.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it that big and it's staying that big? Or do you reckon once he put it in there, he was like, a little bit more?
The big one.
The big one.
No, actually, I'm going to blend the two theories. Bigger big and he made it bigger. Like he had balance issues by the time he was done.
I reckon he was altering it inside.
I don't think that he should do. I mean, hopefully he does that with Kira because, you know, you might as well. But if he's trying to show her what solid sex is like, you shouldn't be cheating and using your changeling powers.
Okay, what size do you think he went for?
What size do you think he went for? Depends what research he's been doing, doesn't it? Like, if he's been watching a bit of porn.
Like, he does study different species as well.
Oh, do you reckon he went Klingon too, Dix?
I don't know, but let's face it. What species was that spy that he had sex with? She wasn't human or Bajoran.
She wasn't, no.
We have seen Klingon porn in Discovery before, so, you know.
That's true.
But, yeah, what I was curious about is, though, when they're going to it and they're going towards the climax, shall we say, of events, we know when Mata leaves a changeling, it turns back into goo. So does that bit then becomes part of her, or does it stay as goo within her?
Does that? Yeah.
And which goo?
So if Odo released some of his goo at a certain point during the procedure, would that goo then link inside the female changeling? Yeah, good question.
And then doesn't he through the end go like they touch fingers and gets it back?
So someone needs to go and get into the slash fiction and answer these questions because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Or maybe to give him the bit of him back, do they have to do a snowball?
Maybe, yeah, probably.
One for all the Kevin Smith fans, especially watching.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, and I think we should leave that there. I think we.
Well, you said lower the tone, so I thought I'd go.
Well, I think it's.
We're not going to be eating his own cream pie.
We've hit the bottom of the lower tone.
Okay, can I just one more serious point I had about it? Genuinely.
Oh, serious now.
The actor who plays the female changeling, is she French or something? Is there an accent to her voice?
She's called like Salome Jens or something. So it sounds
I think
like...
maybe like some sort of accent to her, because I love the fact that it's sort of like it seems like a perfect storm of. I think there is a choice of acting cold in this character all the way through. Even when they're talking about sex, it's talked about in a clinical way. It's like she understands they've just had that connection, but to her, it's like it's just a clinical thing, and I love the way she does that. But yeah, it's her acting. I think it is a bit of her accent. And also, I think the prosthetics maybe create this voice a little bit. But she has such a very specific, very flat voice, which almost sounds machinist in this. I think it's wonderful. And the fact that she maintains it while they're talking about sex is kind of very on point, I felt.
Yeah, no, she's really good. So back to the battle then. So obviously this battle is absolutely spectacular, and we say this so many times throughout Deep Space Nine, but this is probably the best battle that we've ever had on Star Trek to this point. And we'll say that again before we get to the end.
Do you think it's a better one than this?
Yeah.
I think maybe the finale is...
Yeah, there's better battles. There's better battles in DS9. I don't think there's better battles that have been done in Star Trek.
Yeah, this might be top couple. You know, it's like it's.
And I mean, and I'm going even through all Picard now.
I will give Picard may enter the top 10 though, certainly. Or top 5.
Picard was awesome.
It went to the top. It was awesome, but this, and it's what I said earlier. There's something about using physical models.
There is, absolutely.
Just you can't get away from the fact that it's a physical model. It's crisp.
Yeah,
it is what it is. You're not trying to see.
It has all that surface imperfection.
Yeah, there's a tangibility to it that is missing with CGI.
And that's why when they have a ship go, like that's why I said at the beginning, when you've got a ship going in front of a ship, because that's CGI, it suddenly like goes from this amazing detail to like, it looked a bit clunky, you know, which is a shame because I applaud them trying to make it even bigger, and I think it still works, but it's like that's when it kind of shows just a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking of space battles then, and Star Trek does this many, many times, And I've said on this podcast numerous times, if you're going to rip off Star Wars, if you're going to rip off something for a space battle, rip Star Wars off. So this week's Star Wars rip-off is the Klingons turn up at the last minute to save the day. And we see them flying out of the sun as they come to, which is basically the Millennium Falcon saving Luke at the end of the Death Star trench run. But it's one of the great punch the air moments in cinema. So why the hell not? If you're going to do it, just do it.
Sorry, could you just say that all again? Willow just went knucking futs at something.
Basically, the Klingons turning up out of nowhere to save the day is very much Han saving the day during the trench run in the Star Wars.
Don't you think it's amazing that they've not been able to punch a hole? Two Klingon birds of prey turn up to flank the Defiant.
It's not just two, is it?
No, how we see it on screen.
Oh yeah, but they did. No, they said they're going through.
The scene as we get it on screen is the Klingons have punched a hole. Can you get through it, Dax? And Dax goes, "I'm gonna help, gonna try." And what we see is on screen the same bank of Dominion and Cardassian ships has always been. No hole. We see the Defiant flanked by two birds of prey fly at them, blow up like the huge Dominion ships and all sorts of ships. And one bird of prey gets destroyed in this. Fortunately, it wasn't Worf's bird of prey.
No.
But they just...
It'd be nice if it had been Alexander's.
They just put Alexander's on Worf's bird of prey.
Oh, yeah. We've got him again next week, haven't we?
And they just punch straight through.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful shot. It looks amazing. I love it. It's just like, it's what you show on screen compared to what is like, there's hundreds of Klingon ships, but what we see is the Defiant with two birds of prey.
They gave some very good descriptive sentences. Thank you. It was fine. They had to save the budget somewhere.
Going on descriptive sentences, and it's going back a little bit. And it's really nice because we've got what Nogga's been promoted to ensign, and he's sat there, and you've got O'Brien explaining the tactics of what Cisco's doing to try to punch a hole through the Cardassians.
No, it's not.
And what they're doing a bit. No,
Garrick.
No, O'Brien explains it to him, and he tells him
Garrick says you're learning. He goes,
you're getting a real education today.
Yeah, it's Garrick.
I thought it was O'Brien.
It's definitely Garrick. I remember it because I remember thinking it's like, I love the fact that it's sneaky Garrick kind of giving away the tactics. Whereas I think, it's like he's the one who's always.
I thought it was O'Brien who explained it, and Garrick who turned around and said, "You're getting a proper education today, Edson."
I thought it was. I
can't remember, to be honest.
Okay. So,
either way, it's I agree.
It is. It's nice, but it's that sort of like talking to the audience what's happening, but doing it really clever in the script.
Well, it's
sometimes when you
exposition.
Yeah. But sometimes exposition can be so clumsy how it's done and clunky. But this is really clever because you're telling it to a newly promoted ensign.
Yeah, that's where I remember turning in my mind that it was Garrick, only because I felt it's like they gave the shady kind of tactics, even though very good tactics, like the snidey thinking tactics he's explaining, which seems so in character. So I don't, whereas like. You go to O'Brien when it's more you want a military solution.
Well, it was like O'Brien was explaining military tactics, and O'Brien has said you're getting and Garrick who goes, you're getting a proper education.
I remember it my way. You remember yours. Yes, I might.
Well, we'll see. Anyway.
It was still nice and nicely done.
Yeah.
Back on the station then, Quark has got his plan with the cake or the Hasperat souffle, which I love how this is played because it's the cliche of taking a cake into the prison with escape things. But it's all just a red herring to get the guy to sniff it, and the way
Actually,
they go through it, and the way Quark sets him up for it is great because he's acting really shifty, and he's like, "Oh, don't be doing that."
His delivery is beautiful. He goes like, "Don't touch it.
Don't poke
It's very
it. You'll
delicate."
ruin it.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's the kind of like chefy terms.
Like,
It's
to be
pretty
fair, have you ever made a souffle?
good. Yeah, I know it's
No.
very delicate.
Don't
I've
fuck
not
with
made
a
it.
souffle.
Well, especially not in this case because it leads to the prison break.
It's also, to me, it harkens back to Indiana Jones, where you got like the guy who does this wonderful knife display and he just shoots
Yeah.
him. It's like the left field unexpected.
Like, to be fair, Hasbro is normally served in like a flat wrap, like a sandwich.
Yeah, it is.
If you've never made a souffle, you will not understand the time it takes to make a souffle, the preparation, and how hard it is. And Quark goes up to Zial and goes, "Oh, do you know how to make an Aspirate souffle?" Like, that's a quick thing to make.
And by the way, they could have made anything. Why does she need her to make this very specific thing as well? But also,
That is what it needs to be.
When he comes up behind her, sorry, just remembered, like, there is no tension in either of them. It's the most obviously staged thing. It's like when someone holds a coffee cup and just talks like this, and like just shakes their hands around. It's the same thing. Like, you look at his arms, there's no tension. She isn't moving. Her face is doing a lot of wonderful acting, but it's just really bad. Just look at the setup.
I think at this point, with the Aspirate souffle, there's somebody on the writing staff who has a real boner for eggs, doesn't understand the cooking processes, because we've seen it with Riker's omelette.
Yeah.
We've now got a souffle as a quick dish to knock up.
You're right. There's clearly an egg problem in Deep Space now. Well, in Star Trek overall.
Oh, it's though the next bit when they go through and it's like badass Quark with the two guns. I'm here for I never really thought about I don't know, this never really stuck out to me, but right now when I saw it, I was like, Quark looks badass. I've never thought of him as badass.
What I think's even better is his reaction after that. He almost sort of goes into shock
after he's killed people. Yeah, he does. It's like he acts badass all the time. Yeah, it's really hard and cool, but he does it, and he's shocked because he's never done that before.
So the thing, he's a bartender. He's not a soldier. It's just a great little character beat. Like, they could have had him just brush it off and carry on, but they don't. They take time to play true to his character, which is great.
Yeah, I do like that Zial has to take the gun from him and to break the controls, but force fields to drop.
Yeah,
because she couldn't walk 2 steps and press the button.
Yeah, this is not who Quark is. He's done it for his brother, and he does do the right thing when push comes to shove, but this is not him.
It's almost a little similar to the last episode of Angel, the Buffy spinoff, where you've got Lorne, and he basically, like, Angel sings a couple of bars because he reads minds through singing. And he knows what he's asking him to do. And he goes like, okay, I'll do this, but I won't be in the alleyway where you're meeting later.
Yeah, that's it. I'm out.
And he goes and shoots someone because it's all about staying true to yourself. And like Quark, you get quite a few of these crisis moments with Quark where he's like, he gets drunk because he's not being who he wants to be. He's trying to be a good Ferengi, but he's ignoring a part of his personality, which is enjoying fun, enjoying frivolity, enjoying people.
But Quark's another. He's a really well-written character.
He's so true to himself.
He's so complicated. Yeah, but
always.
He's a Ferengi.
Yeah.
But he actually tries to do the right thing, which is against being a Ferengi as well.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. He's always got to be true to himself, even when he tries not to be. He tries to be what's expected of him. But that's the thing.
He does.
Whether it's being what he's expected to be as a Ferengi, or it's like being who his friends see him as. He no matter what expectation, if his friends expect him not to be Ferengi, he can't do it. If the Ferengi expect him not to be a people person, he can't do it. Like, he tries to deny these things every now and again, but he has to just be himself, and that's what I love about him.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. Then we get a lot of action. So we get Odo turning back to the good side. I think we've talked about that. And the culmination of it, it's, you know, we get a lot of sort of last second things. So it's, we're going to shut down the thing.
It is not last second things.
Oh.
Right. At the start of Favour the Bold, it took 22 seconds to turn the computers back on.
It did.
Auto turns round and goes to Ron, you better be quick. You only have 44 minutes to turn the computer off.
Yep.
And he doesn't quite manage it.
Oh, but this is so tightly done because you got like, right, our objective is to turn the power off. Then it's like, we don't have enough time for that. I do have time to put the weapons off. They go off just after the fire shot. But then you've got the fact the weapons are down. The fact that the weapons are down. The fact that weapons are down is perfect for the subsequent bit, which then it's like, and that's reliant on Cisco going to wormhole. It's all so intricately done. That's what I love about this.
It took 22 seconds to flick the switch on.
But that was a Federation ship. This is a Cardassian station, as Chief O'Brien told you. No end. It is not as well.
And they've just been monkeying with the programming to turn it all Cardassian again. So that's
exactly. And it's still got that program that he said were like a stray puppy in it, or whatever
You've now probably got Cardassia 94 running on Windows 10.
Absolutely shocking.
On Dominion 98.
Yeah,
exactly.
And
they're not going to play nicely together. That's going to slow it right down.
Guldacat's not paid his £20 a month to get his blue tick put on it, so
yeah.
Believe it or not, McDonald's UK still runs on Windows 98, and they keep patching over the top.
That does not surprise me one bit. So they go into the wormhole, and I just want to put this out there. On a rewatch, this is brilliant. It fits in perfectly in the storyline they've been building over all the years. It sets up so much more to come. Within the show's internal logic, it's brilliant. At the time, I was like, no, I want more battle. What are you doing?
Yeah.
This is the thing. I think this is very satisfying as an adult watch who loves the fighty scenes, but you get so much good plot, so much good drama.
It's good. It's the right story beat to hit.
As a kid,
but I wanted more of a battle. Yeah.
You know how how it's been talked about anthology series and all that. I'd love to see an anthology series of where these 2,800 Dominion ships were sent.
Yes! I've always thought this. Where did they go?
Because I don't believe that the Prophets killed them. They sent them somewhere. But it ain't like they just sent them back to Gamma Quadrant and closed the wormhole to them, which would have been the logical thing to do, not to hurt anybody. They sent them somewhere else. Where they sent them?
Yes.
I was going to say that, yeah.
Which time and space have they put
Have they just erased them from time completely?
Do you think when Giorgio gets out of wherever she was sent in Voyager, they're all there?
There's just there's 2,200 Jemadar ships, maybe.
Yeah. It's like, fuck.
It's just one of them things. There's 2,000 Dominion ships just dropped into some sector of space.
Yeah.
In the past or the future. With God, what are we going to say? 400 or 500 Jemadar on each?
Yeah, maybe.
That are going to be going through withdrawal very soon and going apeshit crazy, wanting to kill everything.
I wonder if what they did was something akin to, like in Doctor Who, there's one of the Christopher Eccleston episodes where they de-evolve a Slovene back to an egg so it can relive its life.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
I wonder if maybe, there's some sort of dealio like that. She put... The Prophets put them on a world with kind of their memories erased without the addiction to white and their
maybe, I mean, but I was going to say maybe they just moved them back out of the wormhole, but they didn't because the listening post doesn't pick them up.
They said that they don't come back.
Oh, what they did is they sent them back through the wormhole mystically into the past of the Klingon world, and something to do with change their look just to the Klingon color.
Oh, the Discovery Klingons are actually this fleet of Jem'Hadar.
There you go, solved. It's in
there we go. We'll have that. We'll take that one. Yeah, but I do think it's great, and it's great that Sisko bollocks the prophets. That he's like, no, hang on, you're saying you don't interfere, but you are interfering. So if you're going to do it,
you were just interfering. 3 seconds ago, you just said that you can't end your life. I think that's slightly interfering with a life.
Yeah,
a life.
But this is where they calling him the Sisko, isn't it?
Yeah,
this is time to start calling him the Sisko.
I can't remember, to be honest.
I don't remember them doing it before. I think it might be. And also, it's like when they, I love the callback in this as well. Aggressive, adversarial.
Yes.
Yeah. I love
it's brilliant. It's so well done. And again, it's setting up so much more. You get the impression they knew where this was going this point.
But it's also really clever as well, because they're going, you tried to end the game.
Yeah. They refer to it as a game because they've got that language from him.
Which is referencing the very first episode.
Yeah, the baseball metaphor.
Which is also where we get aggressive adversarial. Yeah. It's all lovely. And then like it's almost like he gets shirty when he goes, like, what are you talking about the game? It's like you told him it. Like you said that's what life's like.
You taught us it. Yeah. This is how you work it with you.
And I love the contrast between the baddies on the station. So you've got Wayoon, who's just like, time to start packing. He's not bothered. It's like, yeah, we've lost a battle, but it is what it is.
Oh, and even the founder.
The founder's like, yeah, well, it'll take a little bit longer than we thought. Never mind.
Well, that's a pain in the ass.
Whereas this is the end of the world to Ducat. This is the point that he completely loses it. Yeah.
This is actually torn from him again.
And that, again, just shows maybe he did have an idea, but he was consciously trying to stamp the idea out in his own mind as to what his role in the hierarchy is. It's like, of course they don't care if they lose one battle. Like, whereas Ducat, it's over.
Needs to be,
It's back to the idea of scale that we were talking about before with the Kardashians versus the Dominion.
We were so close.
And just a note on like the production here, when you've got the scene Ducat's walking through the promenade, and Star Trek so rarely, and it's because of the nature of TV production at the time, like you don't have as much time to do different camera setups, so you use your cameras that you've got in place. But they take like almost a handheld camera view, and it's moving about and it's pointing up, and so the camera is reflecting his mental state at the time. And the fact that they've took the time out to do that will have cost a lot to get that shot, because it's like, well, we can't just use the cameras we've got on the dollies all the way around ops anyway. So it's just great attention to detail.
Well, speaking of budget, I mean, it's because they opted for that as opposed to another scene they were going to do of him running through the promenade. It's going to be based on that scene from It's a Wonderful Life when George Bailey's running down, thank you, I'm saving his life. And as opposed to you've got Garrick going, fuck you, Garrick's, fuck you, Odo's station office, fuck you, infirmary.
That would have been good.
It's bitter.
And also the fact that, and they do this every now and again, that we get wild Ducat hair, that they let his hair get out of place, which again is a good visual signifier of the fact that his mental state's deteriorating. It never looks quite right because obviously it's a wig, not real hair, but it's just
how much
great.
Hair gel do they get through on Cardassia?
Oh no, it's a natural. The hair's naturally slick for Cardassians, I think.
Except for when they're distressed, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, they can secrete. That's it. It's a conscious effort to secrete the hair gel, and when you're distressed, you can't concentrate on keeping your hair nice.
Yeah.
5 minutes till my pizza ride, guys. So if we want to wrap
this up. Well, we'll wrap it up. We're nearly at the end anyway. Apart from Damar kills Zial.
How did he think that was going to play? And he's like, oh, well, you heard her. She was a traitor. Oh, in that case,
he thought it was. I think he thought he was saving Ducat. I think he thought if I do this, Ducat will he'll get over it and he'll see the error of his ways. But I think for one moment in his life, Ducat is briefly caring more about someone else than himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like like despite everything, despite how differently we think, we are father and daughter, and we're saying goodbye in this moment, and it's just so kind of human of him.
Yeah,
This hideous monster. The fact they make you care about him so often through this kind of scene is just remarkable.
Like,
it's very well done.
She admitted to him that she had betrayed him and all that. Yeah. She was the collaborator, and he was just letting her go.
Yeah,
and you are still my daughter. I love you. I can't understand what you've done because of things, but I love you. It's your decision, and I'm not going to stop you. And then Damar just ruined it.
Yeah,
he did. And
Damar.
That sets that Damar's irredeemable. Will never come to light by the end of this show.
I'm sure that will never happen.
Absolutely not.
Again, innit?
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne and Batman will be seen in a room together first, and they don't get on.
So, and then this plays into like this sort of quietly heartbreaking scene where you've got everyone reuniting and Garak's just wandering around looking lost because he's the one who's looking for someone who's not there.
Well, that's it. You've got O'Brien and Bashir to Quark, and the holodeck's still running. Yeah, we'll meet in an hour. You've got Dax and Worf meeting.
Yeah.
And everyone's cheering, and then you've got this with Garrick. It's like,
it's brilliant.
It was the perfect choice as well. I think Zayal, you'd introduced enough to care about her. The best Zayal had been featured in these last 3 episodes.
Yeah,
and yeah, but she's not one of the main characters who you don't want to kill off at this stage.
Yeah,
it gives you enough space.
She was a really clever character to kill off at this point.
Yeah,
I think they must have looked back to this in Picard. Because Picard did the same thing with Holby and
True.
Yeah.
Shelby.
I was just saying here we've got to know Zayal. We've got to see how she interacts with everybody, but it's this how it affects Garak, and this is the first time we ever see a chink in Garak's armor properly.
That's true.
Like, I know we saw it in Purgatory Shadow with his claustrophobia. But this is in normal circumstances, a chink in his armor.
Yeah, this is different.
I do need to talk about the last scene, but my pizza's going to arrive in a second, so I'll run off. But start talking about it. But don't go past that last bit.
We won't. We'll talk about the cat and
what do you want to talk about?
Well, before we get to the last scene, then I'll just talk a little bit about Ducat and the baseball. Like it's been an ongoing motif ever since the Federation had to abandon the station. And you've seen him pick it up now and again and mock Cisco and everything. But in this episode, it almost becomes like a blue blanket thing for him. Like he will pick up the baseball and he's holding it throughout this episode as everything's going on. And obviously this ties into the final scene that we're going to get. So I thought that was really interesting, the way they use the baseball as
you mentioned ball and Willow got excited.
That was it, exactly. So apologies that we've had to mute Willow, but I think what she was doing was telling us all about what her feelings were on the metaphor and everything. So we're now on the final scene, Dr. Squee, where
you guys could mute me. I was like, "Oh fuck! I better get up there and mute that fucking quick."
No, it's okay. We were talking about balls, and Willow got excited.
We talked about the baseball. That was it. You should never say ball in front of a dog.
Yeah, language.
So this final scene where he hands him the baseball back, and he's just this completely broken man.
I forgive you too.
He gets a dig in. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I forgive you, Cisco. Not really, don't know.
Well, it's just the moment when he hands over the baseball, because not only does it work for that moment, it's so thematically satisfying.
Yeah.
That, you've had Ducat going into the office to take over before knocking over the baseball, and him handing it back. He's handing the station back because that is such a symbol to us of Cisco in his ready room, like that's the thing.
Well, that's it. Cisco deliberately left the baseball as a symbol of his coming back.
Yeah. and it gets handed back to him. To do that in a way that makes logical sense is great, because otherwise you've got to have him finding it in the corner of the floor.
And this baseball being symbolic of Cisco coming back to the station, this is really paid off.
We're going to come back to that
in a bit.
And everything this paves the way for on Ducat's journey, because, you know, who would ever have predicted that his fate would end up outside Cardassia? You know, like his whole plot line now goes in a completely different direction. Whereas that's all it's been about thus far. It's always been for Cardassia.
Yeah, like, this is plot.
He's an egomaniac, but he believes that, like, because he believes that his way of thinking is the savior of Cardassia, the thing which is most important to him. It's like a lot of parallels to Mother Russia kind of thing here.
Yeah, I mean, Ducat's journey, I mean, it's been brilliant up until this point, but where it goes from here is just fantastic. But as we stand at the moment, then, the good guys have retaken the station and we're ready to see what happens next, which unfortunately means Alexander's going to put in another appearance.
Are we covering the next episode?
We are, yeah. When we recalibrated everything, we decided to cover the next episode as sort of an addendum to this one.
Okay.
Which is the next one?
It's the wedding.
The wedding.
Oh yeah, great. Yeah, because you've got a series of really great ones coming up. So you've got your cordially statistical probabilities is great. You've got
which are we doing next? We've got the Magnificent Ferengi coming up.
Magnificent Ferengi, I was going to say that was the one.
Yeah, we have a return of Kieran.
But
the next episodes, we're doing You Are Cordially Invited and Statistical Probabilities are the next.
Of course.
Which will be our 199th episode.
Ooh.
And we will be out on Wednesday, one day before the premiere of Strange New World Season 2.
Excellent. So we've got a lot.
100.
That'll be our 100th episode.
Our 200th. Our 200th episode, a fortnight on Wednesday, so a fortnight yesterday, will be the premiere of Strange New Worlds.
It's like we planned it.
Which we never do. We can't say that enough. We do not plan any of this.
Planned this back in 1990.
Not 1990.
Okay, 2020. 2019.
Whatever. We planned
when did
it.
Start?
Oh.
It was during the war.
Ago. We were all young, sprightly men back in them days. I had a full head of hair.
I had a full mouth of teeth.
Yeah.
I was even fatter.
Yeah, I was fatter. I've lost weight.
I was as well, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, I used to be a meeting.
I've got to buy new jeans.
I think, at the time.
Falling off me.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's wrap it up there then, and we'll let Dr. Squee have his pizza. So if you want to get in touch with us, we're at RetrekPod on Twitter, retrekpod@gmail.com. It's fine. They don't need to see it on screen. I'm saying the words.
They don't understand without the
And you can find us on just about every social channel. Elliot's got Retrek Model Studios on YouTube.
It's not going to be relevant. I was hoping we're going to do miss one of the next episodes and jump straight to the Magnificent Ferengi, and I can show my shuttle off.
Well, we can see your shuttle when we get there. And Dr. Squee, what have we got on the Dr. Squee show?
On the new, more petitely formed Dr. Squee show on radio at 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. on sw20radio.co.uk. Due to everything in the last week, I took this week off. So I was talking about last week, I'm doing an interview with comedian Ian Smith, who is from the Northern News podcast, amongst other things, which I think you guys will get a huge kick out of. So I'm going to be talking to him this week. So, and you can catch the live video of it actually this Sunday at 10:30 a.m. British time.
And we'll be back for the 199th episode of Retrek. Thanks for trekking with us this time, and we will see you next time on the Retrek.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Drag off an LLAP.